Shivaya. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu ma vidvisha vahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Surendra, you had a question? Just a second. Hold on.
When we say that there is no creation and no samsara, and so how do you explain to somebody when we talking about Taittiriya Upanishad and says Akashat Sambhuta and all those verses? So if you're trying to tell somebody who's not familiar with this, do you still assume that there's samsara?
Yes. So unless a couple of people are coming, let me just wait for them to come.
And similarly, that there is no karya and karan. So there's no samsara, there's no karya karan. But if somebody new, then how do you explain that we can't say that Taittiriya Upanishad is wrong?
So Surendra had a question that, we said that there is no real creation. But then when you talk to someone about what the Shastra says, and that there is creation, and we are all created, we were born at a particular time. So how we discuss this and so on. So I went through that analysis of the child and how those principles have to be kept in mind. So let's just explore what the implications of those principles are. Okay? It means there is no reason to talk about no creation to them. No reason. It'll confuse them. It's just like this math teacher who says 0 is equal to 0. That intermediate step is completely eliminated. That you had 15 marbles, then 5 of it somebody were taken up, and then another 5 were taken up. Now there are only 5 left. These are all intermediate stages of the analysis of the math. And then you say that's all 0. So somebody can say, why are you going through all this? Because I started with 0 marbles and I'm left with 0 marbles. So what was the reason for all this exercise? So this doesn't make any sense to me. So it is said that there is a reason for the exercise. That is to teach math. To teach math. Okay? So in our analysis, the Shruti, if it says that in the very beginning that there is no creation, then people would not even study anymore. For 2 reasons. The most important reason is that it is blatantly wrong. Because it is completely opposite to our experiences. So it will not be accepted at all. And secondly, why are you even talking to me about it? There's no reason, there's no creation or anything like that. And then you say that, so what? I don't understand what the final... So in other words, for a 2 or 3 year old to go through this kind of an analysis doesn't make any sense at all. So what it means is that for most of us that are spiritually children, yet. There's no reason to bring that up. So this is what I said in the very beginning of the very first day, that this is a very advanced text. This is called Siddhi. It's called Siddhi Grantha. So the Siddhi Grantha says, do you want the final answer? There is no Srishti. But I cannot accept it until I go through some investigation. So the steps of the investigation, which gradually comes up to a point and says, oh my God, yes. Then you can understand it. Otherwise, the mind is not developed enough to appreciate it, and therefore it rejects it right away. So the upshot of that is that if you are talking to someone, you can mention that in the from the Mahatmas and so on, they don't see any Srishti. But for the rest of us, we have to go through the whole process. That's the way I would approach it.
Interestingly, Swami Maheshanand, I really like the way he explains. So the Karyakaran, in one place he says, if we assume that there is Karyakaran, then these things are valid. So we can say that, yes, we assume
that's
that there is
right. I didn't address your second question. So that's exactly right.
Yeah, that's
So, Karya-Karana Bhava is not there in dream. This is why we have to study the dream as a model for total freedom in our life. This is what I've been saying, that Swami Akhandananda also said, is if you want me to give you advice, spend your life analyzing how dreams are created and how dreams are so ephemeral. That is much more important. So as part of that analysis, there is no Karya-Karana Bhava. So there is no mother, no father. So in our life, we accept the Karya-Karana Bhava because there is a mother, there is a father, and so on. So we'll go into this in more detail, but the reality is that the whole world is an appearance. In appearance, there is no Karya-Karana Bhava. So the snake on a rope is an appearance. There's no reality to it. So it is just a complete cessation of any kind of a logical thing. And until you see this, you're not going to be free. And this is only possible to see if you reached a certain point of maturity where you can at least accept it. Because otherwise, what will happen is that people will, the mind will come up with some objections. The objection would be that I can see that in the dream there is no mother-father, but in my life there is a mother-father. So how can you say that there is no Karya-Karana Bhava? Okay? So the answer to that is that you are in a dream at the moment. And within the dream, you think there is a Karana-Karana Bhava. But if you were to understand the reality of what it is, you will say, my goodness, I thought that I was, even though it was an appearance. And once the appearance is there, once the appearance is understood, then you don't keep looking for a connection. And this is also, I mean, we are almost like looking at, all this is going to come in all these discussions. This is also true for going to Swargaloka, because there also you have to assume a Karya-Karana Bhava, that if I do some good things, then maybe I'll go to heaven, or I'll do this. You postpone the freedom to next life. That also will be completely, it says no Swarga, there is nothing at all. You are what you are now. here Swami Akhandananda in some of the other books, not in this one. I think in the Karika, he's very insistent, because I think what he talks about there is after meeting with all of these Mahatmas like Riya Babaji and all these other people, and they all say yes. There is no karya karana bhava, there is no nothing, this is what freedom is, I'm free, etc. So what he's saying is that, Swami Akhandananda basically says, he says what happens is, you don't go anywhere. You don't, there is no, this is just Puranic tales that there is a Swargaloka. Even not in Purani, but even in Upanishads, they say, you know, in the Ananda Mimamsa, that first you have Manushya Loka, then you have Manushya Gandharva, and then you have, you know, all those kinds of things and so on. So that's all gradations. 100 times better, 100 times better, 100 times better, like that it is there. Swami Akhandananda says, this is all children's thing. So what do you mean? What do you mean? You are a person that is creating a loka for yourself. Through your vasanas and your prarabdha karma, you are at a certain stage where you are creating this whole world as an expression of your ignorance. And so what happens is that when this body dies, then there is an opportunity to change the projection of the world. Okay? And so therefore, then the sanchita karma will take you to a prarabdha karma, which will create a new world for you. So really speaking, it's not, so here's a distinction. It is not that there is a prefabricated swarga looking for you to come there. You see the distinction? The distinction is that in one case there is already, this is by the way very advanced stuff, and it's not even when I'm talking to you, you'll say, what are you talking about? And so this is all Mahatma's thinking. So the two alternatives are that one, there is a known loka, and who comes there is decided by your karma. This is one. The second one is there is no prefabricated swargaloka. You create one because of your own. He says the Mahatmas say it's the second one which is true, not the first one which is true. Yeah.
Just a clarification question on the second part that you said, that based on your sanchit karma, prarabdha karma, you, once your body dies, you create a new reality for you in a way, right? Your new loka. So there's no predetermined swarglok, devlok, or anything like that where you go and spend some time and then you take birth again. So then, are we saying that swargloka is here on earth in a way, in the situation into which you're born is going to be very good for you, or is it your thinking that creates that?
No, so what that means is that there is a kind of a reset of the situation at the end of each life. So what prarabdha karma means is that for this life, your possibilities of creating another swarga loka are not there, because you are now bound by what you already created. So within this life, you are going to stay within the parameters of that loka that you have created. And what we have created, we have something common between us. We have created a manushya loka. In the manushya loka, there is karya karana bhava, There's a kind of like a dream where everything is done very systematically. So you have to have a mother, you have to have a father, there is a progression of the body. But in any case, going back to the main point, that the reset is for one life. Okay? Then at the end of this life, and I don't know whether it happens right away or there is a waiting period, that I have no idea, and nobody talks about that. In any case, eventually what will happen is that when you give up this body, now you have a new loka that you will be creating. There is a reset. So the new one will be for some time. And so when you choose a body, the body is going to have an age, obviously. And I can imagine it from even that standpoint, that you create a Swargaloka in which the body is not there. Only the Sukshma Sharira is there, the Sthula Sharira is not there. So there also, even if you have a Sukshma Sharira only, like in a dream. In a dream there's no Sthula Sharira. There's only Sukshma Sharira. It appears as though it is a Sthula Sharira. So even in the dream, even in this particular case, it's very possible that you may create a world for yourself where you are only Sukshma Sharira. But the Sukshma Sharira also is based on Karma Phala. So that also will end. At that point there will be another reset. Then it will be, okay, let's see where are you now. Let's see what you want to do now. And it's a joint decision between the Jiva and Ishvara. At any point. So at any point, really speaking, it is not this is what Swami Akhandananda was saying, it's not a preset Swargaloka that you enter and exit. It is really you are where you are at this point, and with the reset you create another world for yourself. This is what the Mahatmas all say.
I have another question that's kind of follows on it, unless somebody has other questions.
Yes.
My English is second language, so thank you for giving me a Hindi book so I can understand very well. So I understand there is 83 chapter in the Hindi version and 144 chapter in English version.
No, there's 144 in all the books that I've studied, 144. Where did you see the 83?
In a subject, in the front page.
Those are kind of like topics.
83 topics.
Yeah, topics are there, but verses are 144.
Oh, that's in Sanskrit. Okay.
And so, like for example, we did the nature of vichara. That is 4 verses with one topic. So something like that, that's why it got reduced down from one to the other.
Yeah. But it takes me a few days for me to read the Hindi book. Then I can understand my question. I find out maybe answer there. But in the meantime, what I bring to you is that now scientists and NASA have found that space is full of billions and billions stars, even galaxy. And they also found the star born and died. Even one day, sun going to be die. In our earthland, where all we live, full of life around us, human life, animal, bird, sea creature, tree, vegetable, flower, fruit, all kind of life live around us, and they all born and die. Why not our spiritual book accept this is the truth? Why our Vedanta teaching us that we born million time and we going to be born million time again? Where everything born to die, not even in the earth, even all stars and everything is born to die. So why our Vedanta teaches different way and why?
So first of all, let me ask you, where are you reading all this from?
Reading is knowledge from the NASA and everything, the TV.
These are your own notes.
It's all my notes, yes, because my English is no good, so I write down first to make a question for you.
Okay, so these are, you're not reading it from anyone, these are your own ideas.
This is my note in my book. I write down my question. Every time I ask Swamiji here question, I write my question
Okay, I
first.
got it. No, I wanted to clarify that.
Yes, there's nothing.
Now
my personal question.
my question to you is to rephrase it because I don't understand your question. And also please keep the mic very close to your mouth so that,
Okay.
so tell me in short, what is your doubt? I don't understand yet.
My doubt is that in our Vedanta,
Yeah,
everywhere are learning that we all born and die.
okay,
And we born before many times and we're going to born
right,
again.
okay,
So my example I give to you that all galaxy going to born and die, all star going to die, one day sun going to die.
right,
As we learn all this from the scientists and NASA.
okay,
Now, in our regular life, all animal, flower, trees, all have life and all die.
okay.
So why we are special, we in Vedanta telling us, no, we are not born to die. Our Atma, we have Atma. Where is this coming from?
So this is coming from, you see, first of all, there is no competition between the so-called scientists and Vedanta. There's no, it's not a debate. We're not talking about the same thing altogether, okay? Science is not science in the view of the Shastra. And the reason for that is that it lacks a recognition of the most basic principle, which is consciousness as the very basis of all creation. Okay, this is exactly what we are talking about. What is Atma, which is unchanging, and so on and so forth. So the science is totally incomplete because it draws its conclusion from a partial amount of data and leaves aside the most important thing, which is the very basis of all things, which is consciousness and Atma. Today also, the science admits to the fact that we don't understand it. They think that either they misunderstand it or they don't understand it. They're trying, but there's no, unless they take refuge in the wisdom of the Shastra, that science will remain incomplete and wrong. So there is no direct competition between Shastra and science. There's no competition as such. What you can say is, how are the two to be reconciled? Is it possible to reconcile it? And yes, we say yes, it is possible to reconcile it, because as far as, so this is what we say, that there are three stages of truth, three stages of Sat. So the truth has to be analyzed very well. What are the three stages? First of all, there is Pratibhasika Sat. So Pratibhasika Sat means that you have an individual idea of what reality is. Like for instance, each human being has its own idea of how good I am, how bad I am, how other people view it. I have my own dreams that I cannot share with you. This is something very personal. And it's very subjective. So this is what is called Pratibhasika Sat. So this is one level of reality. Then the second level of reality is what is called Vyavaharika Sat, transactional reality. In the transactional reality, what you believe to be the truth is also what others also more or less believe to be the truth. In this one you will see, yes, there is a sun, yes, there is a moon, yes, suns are dissipating, new stars are born. This is all Vyavaharika Sat. And the fact that you are a husband, you are a wife, you are a father, you are a mother, Vyavaharika Sat. And the Vyavaharika Sat continues to be present as long as you remain as a living being. So this is the second level of truth. Then there is a third level of truth which is called Paramarthika Sat. In the Paramarthika Sat, there is no Vyavahara. And the closest thing to Paramarthika Sat is deep sleep, which is the same for everybody. Because in deep sleep, there is no distinction between one person or the other. Even a criminal who might have murdered 7 people during the day, he may have a hard time sleeping, but when he does, he will have the same experience as a person who is the most pure form of a human being. It's the same thing for both of us. So that is the sort of like a hint towards Paramarthika Sat. In Paramarthika Sat, there is no Vyavahara. The Vyavaharika truth also disappears. Science does not believe in Paramarthika Sat. They only believe in Vyavaharika Sat. So therefore, there is no comparison, there is no competition. We cannot even have a debate with them because they don't understand. From our standpoint, they are children. They don't understand what's going on. And we don't want to fight with them. What are we going to do? What fighting is it? Let the scientists keep on believing what they want to do. But it has nothing to do with the truth of things, which is Paramarthika Sat. So that is the distinction between. So when you say that why does Vedanta, we're not going to accept what is not really completely true, because they're missing some important pieces out of it. And so until and that this Vidya is not something that human beings can create. This is something that has come from Ishvara himself. And so the Ishvara is a Paramarthika Sat. And so it is not subject to interpretation by people that, it's like he's created some people and those people are now questioning where is God. Something like that. So there is no comparison between them. So that's a general answer to what you were saying, as best as I can understand your question.
Okay. So like you just mentioned about this, our Shastra was not coming from previous, is coming from the God.
Yeah.
So my other question right there, our 7 or 8 billion population in world, how many people Hindu who believe in our God?
Doesn't matter. Truth
so
is
what
not...
about the other religion? They all have their religion book.
Wonderful.
Also.
I'm very happy that they do. Truth is not subject to, is not a democratic, it is not who wins the election, how many people believe. There is nothing to do with it. Nothing to do with it. Truth has its own independent source, and if people want, if 7 million people don't want to understand it, our namaskara, our good wishes to them, that's fine. But I am a seeker, and I may not know personally, but we are a seeker of truth.
Yes.
And we keep looking at it until we find something. So this is what they say, that in the case of Paramarthika Sat, there are 3 filters that you have to go through. Shruti, Yukti, and Anubhava. These are the 3 filters. The first one is Shruti. Who is saying all this? Some sense of wisdom must be there. Otherwise, and it's not always there, because imagine the number of human-made religions that make no sense whatsoever. It can always go on. That's all Vyavaharika Sat. So the Shruti, in terms of authenticity, of wisdom, has to be there. Then the second one is that it must make sense to me. Yukti. So if I tell you that yesterday, last night, an elephant entered my left ear, even though you have a lot of shraddha in me, this is a good guru, wonderful guy, this, that or the other, will you believe that?
No.
It's not possible. So whatever the Shruti is saying must also be compatible with yukti. Yukti means it must be reasonable.
Evidence.
Okay? The third one is the most important one, which is anubhava. Anubhava exactly is the same thing as anubhuti. Aparoksha anubhuti and anubhava is the same. Anubhava means, anu means that the way the Shastra says, I really see that eventually. I may not see it right away, but I will see it eventually. But I must see this. It must be an experience. Already there are signs that it is true, because Shastra points out, again going back to the deep sleep state, you have the anubhava of completely giving up samsara for 3 or 4 hours. Everybody has that anubhava. This is the ultimate anubhava of that kind. So all 3 of them must be met in order to transcend pratibhasika sat and vyavaharika sat to go up to paramarthika sat. That's the situation.
I agree with you. The Anubhava is, I believe in a God, and there's all question come for that, so we can reach more better way to find way. You mentioned many times today, yesterday about the analyze. So why not is the time for us? Because if these all books coming from many, many thousand years, now the time changed. Now we have a phone, we can do everything. It's a different world. So why not we analyze all this Shastra and find out why they're saying it and what is the truth? Should we have to follow all these things, or we can figure out something else?
Well, I think that's for each one of us to investigate. We think some people think that the wisdom in the Vedanta is something that is worth investigating. We have to remove our doubts, we have to further our understanding. It takes a while. Or the choice is that this doesn't make any sense, it does not jive with what your experiences are, what other people might be saying, in which case you have to investigate that. So this is purely a personal choice at that point.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So my question is somewhat basic regarding eye awareness and consciousness. The writings by Swami Dayanandji are really wonderful, describing the concept with amazing examples that help anybody understand that. Even I could get the idea. Lot of really nice examples. I love to read that. But then the one part that I'm having a difficult time comprehending is in the subject-object discussion, how space and time relate to the eye awareness. And if you can help me understand that, that'll be helpful.
Okay. So, there are 2 basic aspects of the experience of creation and so on. One is the basis of all experiences, what is called adhisthana. And from the standpoint of an individual, it is also called kutastha. Kutastha, Adhisthana, it's the very anvil on which all changes are taking place. This is very basic understanding of the Hindu thought, as opposed to the Buddhist thought. So I'm just going around a little bit, and then before I answer your question. In the Buddhist thought, there is no Atma. There is no consciousness. It is just some flickers, and they have some differences between them, between one form of Buddhism versus another. But they also use similar words, that the world is mithya, like we do. But they say that even the Atma is mithya. There's nothing real, there's no reality to it. And so we say, so where is the question of moksha? What freedom are you talking about if you believe that? So their argument is that when all thoughts disappear, nothing is left that is moksha. This is a very funny situation. I don't want to have moksha if I also disappear. What kind of a moksha is that? In fact, it is opposite to what our experiences are, which is that we want to live. We want to be there forever. This is why every time there is a group photograph, I want to be in one of them. This is very interesting. You see all these family members. They'll say, wait, don't take it yet. Why? Because they feel, if I am not there, at least my memory is there. So somehow this is an expression that I don't want to disappear. I want to be here. So this thinking, the Buddhist thinking, anyway, that is just on the side, but related to what we are going to say. So what I was saying in answer to your question was that the whole creation consists of an adhisthana and all the changes that are happening on the adhisthana. And so, for example, in the case of the water or the waves, the one we took this morning, meditation, all the waves are the changes that are occurring on the adhisthana of the water. So there are really only two things. One is satyam and one is mithya. Mithya is all the changes on the satyam. You know that. So now the question is, akasha and time, desha and kala, which of these two things do they belong to? This is the question. Okay? So, this is what we have to answer. Shruti says it does not belong to the adhisthana. It belongs to the changes. How is that in the change? Because it is formless, time is formless, space is also formless, and all other objects that you speak of, which are clearly changes, have forms. So this doesn't appear to be part of the Vishaya. This is part of the Adhisthana. Is the doubt? Shruti says no. It is not part of the Adhisthana, it is part of the Vishaya. Because the only thing is that when the creation is made, it has many different aspects to it. One of the most important aspects is space. It's a creation of the mind where space is created. Time is also created. They are both created. They happen to be formless, but they are a creation. Then you can go to business. So these two coordinates time and space are the fundamental aspects of all creations, then you can have vastus, things. So for example, suppose you imagine a chair. You cannot imagine a chair unless it is at a specific time, at a specific place. See, any vastu that you see is actually related to time and space. This is what is called apeksha, apekshika. So there is a relationship between time and space and vastus. The vastu cannot be without time and space. Time and space cannot be without some vastus. There is no reason for having time and space unless you use it to articulate some vastu. So time and space are also related to the vastus. But the time of space is also created. It is created. In fact, you look at Anubhava. You can say that how can time and space be created? Because aren't they always there? So you cannot say that only something which is created is always there, but time and space is always there. I'm sorry, just the other way around. If the time and space is already always there, then there is no creation. It is already always there. That's not true. In deep sleep, time and space disappear. Time and space disappear. Atma does not disappear. It is just looking at nothingness. That nothingness is the absence of time and space. So the time and space is also an imagination of the mind. Just like a chair is an imagination of the mind, one is a subtle, very subtle object, and the other one is a gross object, but they are both objects. This is what Vedanta teaches us. Time and space are not stuck to the Atma. Atma is, and we will actually explain this, I might even do a meditation on this. Swami Akhandananda has been extremely clear about this in the way he explains all this. So hopefully we will actually do this as part of this a little bit. But Atma, what is called jnanam, the knowledge, I know, is the seer of time and space. It is not stuck with time and space. So this is the general answer. Think over it, and if you still have some doubts, please let's discuss it again. Okay, anyway, let it go first.
Is it on? Yeah. So it's a continuation to the earlier questions, actually. So why are all of us thinking the same dream is one part of my question. And the other is that, is it right to say that everyone starts out as a child and that's the journey for everyone? Because as you said, the Shastra creates the creation is created to explain to the child and it's negated in the end. So are all of us children?
Why are all dreams the same? What did you say that?
Like what you were saying, right? That everything is a creation of the mind, like time and space. And so since all of us are here, you and I and all of us, well, how come all of us are in the same dream? If everything is a dream, and my dream and your dream, like when I'm dreaming my dream when I'm sleeping, it's my own dream.
Correct. Pratibhasika, that is Pratibhasika Sat, that's your own dream.
But in this dream, we are all, you and I are there together.
Correct.
So why are you and I dreaming the same dream?
Because we are created in a Vyavaharika Sat. We created a loka for ourselves, this Vyavaharika loka, this Manushya Loka, animal Loka also, Manushya Loka, where my thinking is that of dealing with similarities with people. So it's a play. It's a very sophisticated, multi-dimensional play. So in a play, you do need to have some common script, isn't it? Because you cannot really have a play unless they have a common script. And the common script means that there must be some relationships with other people in the play. Because, this is what movies are about. Two happy people, then this gunda comes in and then creates a problem. And then finally the hero beats the gunda and they are happy. So some kind of a play has to be created where similar human beings, you could have a play where there is only one human being and the rest of them are animals, but it won't be that interesting. Much more interesting is to have the similar kind of people. So this is my own dream, which has been facilitated by my prarabdha karma. Through Ishvara, you can say, I want to be in a dream where I meet similar people for a long time. This is where we got married, you stay with the same person for a while. So this is a kind of an extended dream, like a multi-act play. One play ends, one act finishes, the scene changes, but the same people are still there. So it is kind of like a dream, but the common elements are the ones that make it a vyavaharika sat. Now, the pratibhadika sat can be included in the vyavaharika sat, and it is. So you have your own personal lives that I have no idea what you're thinking about. You have your own dreams, but then there are some common things. We go to the same same place for eating, same place for so on. This is also part of an extended dream. And the extended dream is to finally figure out that the extended dream is also there for you to figure out that this is a dream. Right now, we don't think this is a dream. We think this is reality. But the progress eventually would be that with the comparison of dream and the waking state, the waking state is just nothing but an extended dream. So in that sense, the question of why is it that the same dream is there for everybody, hopefully that answers it in the sense that it is my own creation. I want to have an extended dream. I want to have a private dream, but I also want to have a common dream. This is my own sankalpa, my own prarabdha, my own vasanas. So that's the first question. Now, did you have something else? Okay.
I think that's also connected in some ways, because when you had said that Shastra is kind of addressing the child in us, right? That there is a creation. So is it safe to assume that everybody comes here or this is as a child, and that's really the journey for every person, is you come as a child and you have all these experiences, and then in the end you yourself end up negating. So is that true for everyone, and that's the journey for everyone, is my question?
Journey for everybody. The one that we haven't talked about very much, but it should be really understood. And these are all, they come from the sayings of the Mahatmas that you have to really see. And in some cases, this is not properly explained in my view. Many of the teachers don't really, they may understand it, but this communication doesn't take place. So this is what I'm going to tell you. Why is this world created? Let leave aside the fact about there is no creation. this seeming creation which is full of dukkha, why is it created? Okay? And I didn't get a clear answer of this. Let me tell you what the non-clear answer. It was a relatively clear answer, but not a completely satisfying answer until I started reading Swami Akhandananda's books. This is how much I really value his. The general answer given by most acharyas is that why is not an appropriate question. This is the way it is. Okay? And they even go further to say that the way it is doesn't have to be. There is a better way. If once you understand what's going on, you will be happy. Okay? This is the general answer. If you look at all the books that our acharyas say, they all say the same thing. I think I got a very good answer, a better answer from Swami Akhandananda, which is this. It is created, especially with the sukha dukkha, mostly dukkha, some sukha, but mostly dukkha, because if that was not there, you will not seek God. You will not seek God. Ishvara is anxious that you seek Him. Seek Him means seek total freedom, not a person or anything like that. It's not as though He's a king and He wants to increase His kingdom, nothing like that. He says it's not good for you to not understand what's going on. This is the reason why there is creation. If there is no creation, there will be no desire to seek complete freedom. Then within that, there is a complete range. Like this gentleman was saying, that there's 9 million, 8 million people, they don't seek it. It's okay. This is a huge, there's only 8 million people on this earth. There is infinite number of people in the whole creation. So this is a process that is going to go on. Ultimately, everyone will realize that I am not this big, small person. I am the whole thing. And in order to do that, dukkha is necessary. Otherwise, you will be waylaid. You'll be distracted, and you'll never reach the. Dukkha is a very important aspect of this, because you have to keep on saying there must be something better than this. There must be something better than this. This is not okay. This is not okay. It's a very important thing, because that sense of seeking, it's like a heat-seeking missile. It'll keep on going until it hits the mark. This is the real reason. I think this is absolutely. And when I talk about Swami Akhandananda, it doesn't, to me, it's not just a single individual. What I see him is a burning desire for freedom from the day he was born, and how he left things, and he says, I want the truth. And he talked to, I don't know how many Mahatmas over a lot of problems. He has written this book called the Pavana Prasanga, which Swami Chinmayananda of the Chinmaya Mission gifted me just about 6 months ago, because one of our common friends who was in Mumbai, Lita, brought this book. He brought a couple of books for me. He knew that I had discovered the writings of Swami Akhandananda, and he was very happy about it, because he says, I have a lot of respect for them. So tell Vijay to really read this. So one of them is called Pavana Prasanga. It's not that big a book. It's probably about twice the size of this book. And unfortunately, I did not get any multiple copies of that because I didn't know how many people would be interested. Only 1.5 sizes, not that much bigger. I only have one copy, and I've gotten to about 90% of it. In that book, it's a kind of like a autobiography of his own life. In that book, he's talked about dozens of Mahatmas, not just one or two, dozens of them. And he's extracted the honey from all of them. He's gone to like the flowers of each one Mahatma. What do you think? How did you achieve this? And then he cross-checks it and says, this is the truth. And this fact that it is created because Ishvara wants you to be him, free, is something that I have never seen that answer from anyone. And yet if you look at Pavana Prasanga, all the Mahatmas, they all feel this is absolutely the right answer. And so that is good enough for me. And now it just makes a lot of sense for me. So I forget what was your question was, sorry, let me relate it back to it. What was your...
It was just this, that you kind of answered it, because I was asking if that's the journey for everyone, and
The journey
yes.
the child and so on and so
Yes.
forth. That's exactly right. It is, we are all moving in that direction. And this is what we were discussing in one of our satsangs. This is where, I know Shankar and I were discussing about free will, and so we were saying this is where the Gayatri Mantra hits the nail on the head. Diyo yo naf prachodayat. What it says is, I have to make the right decisions in my life. I have to have the right buddhi. Because, as we say in the case of Bhagavad Gita, it's a very individual journey. The blessings of the Ishvara is not enough. The Atma Vichara, Atma Kripa is the one that delivers the goods. So it's an individual journey. In that journey, I have to think wisely. What you can do is to ask this, you cannot ask the Ishvara, please make me free. Ishvara says, Swami Dayananji used to say this. He says, there are some things that even Ishvara cannot give you. One of them is, please give me a head. Hey, you already have a head. I can give you another head if you want, like Ravana, but I cannot just give you a head. You already have it. So this is something like this. You cannot ask Ishvara, please give me freedom. Ishvara says, you have freedom. What are you talking about? You are me. All you have to do is to just, please give it to me anyway. Okay, then I can give it to you by giving you good buddhi, so that you understand that you are none other than me. That's the only thing that happens. So the progression is the same for everybody. We just have to accept it and adhere to it and follow the instructions, and we'll all get there. That's it. Finally, Rani, after waiting for so many questions, I'm sorry, you had a question in the back, but let Rani take this one.
It's kind of related to the question I had asked earlier and that you had answered, related to the fact that to create, once the experiences of this life finish, to create the new experience, you and Ishvara decide together, right? Or you have. But then in Gita, Krishna says that those who don't believe in me and those who don't come to me, will, I will throw them into hell, right? Or they will. So where is their participation of the person who is not believing in Krishna or not seeking Krishna through their life? So I don't know the exact chapter in which it is, but there is a section in which Krishna talks about what happens to those who are not.
Well, one answer to that would be, you tell your child, if you don't eat this roti, Hawa is going to come and devour you. We all have a lot of problems in feeding our children. I know that Pami and I are really struggling. Sania doesn't want to eat. She doesn't, she's just, and we have tried everything. Do this. My wife's thing is, okay, if you don't eat it, then I will. And so for a while she says, no, you cannot eat it, that's mine. So that worked for a while, but now even that doesn't work. So it's a big issue. As part of that, one of the armaments that parents can use is to frighten them. You don't do this. And they have to first create the image of a Hawa. What is a Hawa? Nobody knows, but they can create one. It's always dark or something like this, Then possibly. So this is a carrot and stick that happens. This is one explanation. The other one is that it is true, as we have also been saying, that to be totally devoted to the nonsensical things of this life is getting away from Paramatma. Because there's only one of two things. Either you are wasting time in doing things that have no significance whatsoever, and so then the results will be that you'll just take a lot of time. Whether you actually go in hell or not, it could happen, because if you think that because there is complete justice, the laws of karma and karmaphala are not you cannot just say flout it and say, I think I'll fool Ishvara. So all these people that have killed innocent people with machine guns and so on, you don't think they're going to pay for it? They'll pay for it a long time. So they will actually be wandering around for quite a while. It's just like, supposing you have, in fact, this is what the Shastra says, that these trees that are there may have been people that have committed a lot of criminal acts in the past. How so? Because if there is a partially sick person, it's treated by medicines and so on. If it is a very ill patient, either especially mentally ill, he has to be anesthetized, and he has to be kept chained. So in some ways, the trees around them that cannot move, their own life, they have to stay at one place. I have an oak tree in we have an oak tree in our property, which is 250 years old. That guy, he's a jiva. He must have done something that Ishvara said, just stay here for 250 years, don't bother anybody, and just create oxygen. After that, we'll release you, and you can do something. Something like that might have happened. So yes, there is definitely a hell, but that hell is created by the actions of the person. It's not like, again, the same thing. It's not like there is a prefabricated hell and then you are selected. There could be, we don't know. You can say that this world is also prefabricated and I was put into it. But all these Mahatmas say the fact of the matter is the number of worlds You know, this is what they say, that there are 7 heavens and 7 hells, 14 and so on. I believe there are infinite number of heavens and infinite number of hells. Each one of them is a possibility for anyone, depending upon what your life is all about. Exactly, this is what my thinking is at this point after going through so much literature. But it really doesn't matter. The main thing is that we should just do the right thing in our life. And less time we spend on things that are inconsequential. This is what life is all about. When you really begin to get sensitive, you find people are doing inconsequential things. And may Lord help me to avoid those and be directed in the right way. That's all that I can care about at this point. How long it takes, I don't know. It's not up to me. But at least I should not be going south when I should be going north. That's all. Yeah, did you, sir, you had a question in the back? Sure. Last one.
So my question is on meditation. So what is the ultimate goal of meditation? You know, in today's morning's meditation, you spoke about the ocean of consciousness and then waves being as thoughts. So once you silence all those thoughts and you are completely, you know, like silent, what should be the practice,
Okay.
you know, once you have achieved the silence?
This we will talk about in much more detail.
Okay.
So this is what is called, this is exactly what I talked a little bit earlier. This is what called Aparokshanubhuti. Aparokshanubhuti is the final call. That, remember, if you remember that example I gave about a person coming and you
Yes.
didn't quite understand that until you say, yes,
John,
this
yeah.
is. So our goal is to definitively know that I am Brahman, not this wretched, limited person. That is the goal. How we got there, and meditation helps with it, but meditation not independently helps it. It is based on Shravanam, based on Mananam, but then by putting it together, you finally understand. This is what is called vritti jnanam. So we'll talk about that as we go more.
Thank you.
All right, long day and rest, please. We will see you tomorrow. Thank you.
Tomorrow morning at 7:30 to 9 with the Handiji music here. So I might be a little late.
7 to 9?
7:30 to 9.
7 to 9. Okay.
So hopefully 9 will finish, but in case if until
Okay.
5, that's good.